Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Hope so you are all fine. This is your science class and we are doing chapter 1 from cells to organisms. Students, in our today's lecture we will discuss plant cell and animal cell. We will discuss different parts of plant cell and animal cell. Students, this is plant cell and this is taken from a leaf cell. Here you can see there are different parts of these plant cells and they have different functions. This part is known as nucleus. So student, this is the nucleus of plant cell and it controls all the activities of the cell including cell repair. It contains thread-like structures called chromosomes, which are made of DNA, that is known as deoxyribonucleic acid, and proteins. Genes are parts of the chromosomes which store information to be passed down from one generation to the next generation. The second thing which is mentioned in this diagram is this large portion which is known as vacuole. So it is filled with cell sap which contains substances such as sugar and mineral salts dissolved in water. The cell sap keeps the cell firm by taking in water. A plant cell usually has a single large vacuole which forms the biggest part of the cell. This green small body is called chloroplast. These are disc-like structures which contain a green pigment called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll traps light so that plants can make food during photosynthesis. So this chloroplast will help plants to make food during photosynthesis. These small white portion which is filled up in the whole cell, this is aqueous portion and known as cytoplasm. It is jelly-like and contains other cell parts such as the nucleus and chloroplast. New materials are constantly being made and broken down in the cytoplasm. Due to the large vacuole, the cytoplasm of a plant cell is reduced to a thin lining because there is a large central vacuole in the cell. This outer hard green portion is known as cell wall. It is a strong and stiff structure made of cellulose. It supports a plant cell and gives it a regular shape. So this cell wall gives plants a regular shape. The inner side of this wall is known as cell membrane, and this is a thin layer that controls the movement of materials into and out of the cell. It is partially permeable, that is it will allow only certain materials to pass through. That's why it is known as partially permeable membrane, because it allows only some substances to pass through it and it will not allow other substances to pass through it and enter into the cell. The second cell which I am going to describe is animal cell, and this is a typical human cheek cell. If we take some portion of our cheek from scratching inner side of the cheek, then we can make a slide of this and we can observe it under a microscope. When we will observe it, we will see these all portions. First one is the outer layer which is known as cell membrane. This is a thin layer that controls the movement of materials into and out of the cell. It is partially permeable, that is, it allows only certain materials to pass through. This central portion is known as nucleus. It controls all the activities of the cell including cell repair. It contains thread-like structures called chromosomes which are made of DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid, and proteins. Genes are parts of the chromosomes which store information to be passed down from one generation to the next. This white liquid portion is known as cytoplasm. It is jelly-like and contains other cell parts such as the nucleus, New materials are constantly being made and broken down into the cytoplasm. It almost fills the whole animal cell because there is no large central vacuole. These yellow bodies are the vacuoles of animal cells, and they are teeny spaces in the cytoplasm containing food, water, waste materials and other substances. The vacuoles are usually small and numerous in an animal cell. So this was the animal cell which have taken from a human cheek cell, and this is plant cell which we have taken from the slide, or we have observed from the slide of a leaf cell. Students, I have described the parts of plant and animal cells and their functions. If you find any difficulty in this lecture, you can ask me. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.